Hello, welcome back to school. So, have you ever had that experience when you've been sitting on your leg for a while or your foot, and then you go and you stand up and your foot is all tingly? That's what I have going on right now with my foot. Okay, this is going to be kind of like a update stroke planning stroke kind of like me kind of getting things organized. Because next week, teacher says he wants to start in earnest with everything. Well, maybe not with everything, but with everything. We've been doing conference for, about a week, 2-3 weeks, I think. Talking about things and just getting things organized and all this other stuff. So, let me kind of show you real quick how things are looking. So the desk, for the most part, is organized, which is like kudos, because a couple weeks ago I had stacks of books and papers all over on this thing. So now it's at least a little bit more organized. This is a stack of paper. I just have to go through and get it cleaned up. So I did get a couple things recently, which I thought were kind of cute. One is Memorial Press has these manner cards, and I'm an adult and I know these things, but I saw this first one and it just says smile with a big exclamation mark after it. And I thought, who would not want to see that just sitting on the desk? I mean, it just makes you want to smile. So I bought those and I showed them to teacher, and he was kind of reading through the backs of them, and he's like, oh, this might be something, we could actually utilize and just kind of remember these things and keep them in the forefront of our mind. So yeah, there's like 36 of them, so I think we're just gonna go through like one a week and just kind of recycle them as they go through. So we're not gonna do like anything formal with them. We're just gonna spend, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes on them. So that is one new item. The other new item is here, which is pretty much the same thing, but it's just like, it doesn't have anything written on the back. And what I have done was I stuck 2 cards in one sleeve, and I'm hoping to get like really strong magnetic hooks to pin to put on the board and to hang these on. I think that'll kind of hold it nicer, and I might be able to put these other ones on here. So these are all the other ones that came with everything, and I just stuck them all in to sleeves. So this is how I have it scheduled. So you just like flip it around. Usually that's not how I do front to back stuff on things, but seeing as I'm not putting this in a binder, it's not a real big to do. So that is that. So that's kind of stuff, positive affirmation, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully that'll help things. This is the bookshelf that is more or less reorganized. The bottom shelf is a bunch of encyclopedia. Well, it's in a encyclopedia set I bought a while back ago at a used book sale. I gave him $25 for it. These are a bunch of like health books related, I think. I don't know, because I haven't looked at this shelf in a while. I think these are health type stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. These are this stuff here is just kind of miscellaneous stuff. But this stuff over here, all of pretty much all of these books are independent readings that I will be working through throughout the year. They deal with just different aspects of life, if that makes sense. Study skills, things related to music, things like that. So that's kind of my I don't say my private, but my independent reading. So I'll be reading through a chapter or whatever it is, a section, and I'll have to take notes and write a report or write a summary or whatever about the literature book that I read. So there's a whole huge smattering of stuff here. They're kind of out of order, but I will have to get them in order from the printout that I have and get all that figured out. The top shelf is, this half is more independent study stuff. These are extra cards that we haven't used. Let's see here. This is states and capital. Well, these are like flags. These don't come with anything, but these are flags that kind of enrich the states and capitals. These are the states that we still need to go through. And this was something I just bought for enrichment. I don't think we're going to get time to go through this, but I did buy a bunch of enrichment stuff in the sense of like arts type stuff. And there was a book that came with it, which I don't think it's up here, but there's a book that came with it. And of course it requires a bunch of literature books. I don't have any of the literature books, so figuring out how I want to do that, if I want to do that, how we can make that work. There's also like a music component, which I think that would be fun. If we can at least incorporate some of the music component, I think that would be kind of fun, because I think it's like listening to standard classical music. I actually listened to the first piece in this, and I was like, this is kind of nice. Like, just to sit down and listen to music. I haven't done that probably since university. Like, to just sit down and, well, even pre-university, because when you're at university, if you're listening to music, you're forced to analyze everything and write reports about it. So, but to truly just sit down and listen to a nice piece of music, I need to do that. So I might just work through this on my own. I don't know. The art, I mean, there's more information in the actual book about the arts cards and things like that. But there's other stuff like geography skills, like knowing like map stuff, poetry readings. I think there's a science section in there. But yeah. But I don't have any of the books for any of that stuff, because they're all come in like little tiny literature books, and I don't have any of that. So this is something I'll be working through on my own. This is it's basically, I'm gonna kind of use it as like a devotional type thing. There is a book that comes with it, but it's in the other room because that's where I have all my teaching planning materials. But basically, there's like, I think there's 20 or 30 something, what I'm calling chapters, and they're broken up into like different sections. Like the first section deals with creation, and I think it's got 2 sections that deal with creation, and then there's another little reading that talks about the creation of man. And then what I'm calling chapter 2 deals with the fall of man, with sin, and going up to the flood, and then all of that. And that's kind of how it works through the scriptures like that. And the neat thing about this book is it has like vocabulary words. It has like a little prayer thing. It has a little activity based on each reading. It has questions that are in here that are actually separate. The book that comes with it. No, I don't know if it comes with, I think it comes separately. The book that accompanies this book has all the vocabulary words with the definitions and the questions and answers, but those questions and answers are actually different than what is in here. So that's nice. So the plan with that is I will be reading this material, and then I will be writing out the vocabulary words with the definitions and the questions as the questions and answers as statements. So because the answers are already in this other book, there's really no point in like recitation or anything like that. But the questions in this book, I don't think in the, what is this? The Story Bible. The questions in the Story Bible, I don't think are in this other book, so there's no answers. So those would be something that I could actually answer in this book without having an answer right in front of me. Then there are a couple little tiny books that I have that are not here because they're in the other room, because I need to put them in the planner. Basically, they're like little tiny prayer books that I'm going to memorize a smattering of different prayers and actually try to put them into practice in the sense of reciting them and praying them and trying to get a little bit better life in that area. So this book here, this is another book that I recently bought. This is Beatrix Potter, Complete Tales. I have never heard of this book. I have heard of Beatrix Potter for like the past couple of years and just doing research and things. They apparently teacher knows Beatrix Potter and says that she is a very famous British author and illustrator, if memory serves me correct. But I have a bunch of these, so I'm not gonna do anything hardcore with this other than just read it for the sake of reading really good literature, because apparently this stuff is like gold when it comes to literature. So this is going to be a year-long project with reading this. And I'll probably use Caesar. I don't know how that will work out, but we'll see how that works out. The top shelf I have all organized. I have taken out most of the teacher materials because I'm trying to plan this out. But this is all the teaching materials for Christiana. I think Prima stuff. Well, I think I took out Prima. I still have some Prima stuff in here, but as far as the teaching books, I took those out already. And this is all for first form and second form. And this is all the books for first form and second form when we get to there. Because I think there's like 7 lessons left in this. Maybe a little bit more. But there's less than 10. Let's just say that. So I'm hoping we can start this hopefully before Christmas. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. This is the recitation book, which we're not really following a guide for this. We're just kind of like seeing, okay, let's run through this, 30-something recitations and see which ones you know. And the ones that I don't know, I mark them, and then we just kind of review them until I know them. Currently, I'm stuck on the planets, and I think the oceans. I don't know. But I did get, since getting the, what do they call it? The enrichment book that goes with these art cards, I did see that there were some maps and things in the back of that enrichment book. So I might use that and study and figure out, like, actually learn this stuff, because currently I have no concept of where these things are. The maps here are currently all on the blank side, so nothing is labeled. And this map, I think it's all fuzzy, so it's really hard to read very clearly. There's a lot of stuff going on there. But using those maps in the back of the enrichment guide will hopefully help me with learning whatever it is I need to learn for recitation. And this is the teacher material for states and capitals. And this is all of my material for Latin and geography, and then all the extra little books for geography. And these here are copybooks pertaining to, this one is spelling. I know that for sure because it's the bigger one. And we did start working out of it like a long time ago, and we just started to implement it again. One of these is also for English grammar, like solely English grammar. Like I had to write out something for English grammar because I conjugated a verb wrong or something. So I had to write out the conjugation of a verb correctly, which is interesting because I never really learned how to do that in English. This one, well, I'm just kind of guessing at which ones these are. There's one for errors in recitation and review. So there's one that deals with like planets and the oceans. And there was something else in here that he had me write out because I kept messing those up. And then I think this very back one, which is probably not correct, but one of these is for errors on tests and quizzes and things. One of them I got the Latin phrase wrong, and he had me copy that out for one of our Latin quizzes or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of what those are right now. All the rest of this stuff is just stuff that I bought for potential future use, dealing with different stuff. There's like some artsy stuff, which again, you need the reading books to do them. Otherwise it kind of don't make sense. And this is like a little, it's called Me, Myself, and Others. It's a manner stroke safety. And this is a book. It didn't come with it, but it's utilized with it. So I got this first, and then later I bought this set, which actually came with a couple other reading books. This one and this one. And I think teacher says he knows these, or he's read them, or is familiar with them. I don't know. Apparently this stuff is really good material, but we're not going to do those yet. They don't have anything to do with this book. So, the manners, what is this? Myself and Others book. These books have nothing to do with those, with the Myself and Others book, but it came with the set. So we might, I don't know, maybe down the road we might do read alouds with this or something. I don't know. Or else, I don't know. But it came with the set, so I thought, well, I'll hang on to them for now, see what happens. So that is kind of the new stuff. Speaking of new stuff, hold on. I'm going to step out of this room and go into the other room. I found out where my cat's been sleeping lately. Okay, so I recently found out, like yesterday, I was just checking email, doing some stuff, minding my own business, and I, I got, every once in a while, I'll get like, I think it's like a monthly email thing from Memorial Press. They'll do like a, hey, this is new stuff, or hey, here's a new article. You know what I mean? It's got a bunch of different stuff in this little email update. And so I got this random email, and I clicked on it just to see what it was. And it says that they have a new product of flashcards, both for the app and for the physical flashcards. And what they are the grammar questions for the form series of Latin. And I was like so psyched when I saw that. Like, I didn't even have to see the image. Like, I was just looking through the words. I'm like, they have me hooked at form, first through fourth form grammar question flashcards. Like, they're like, ooh, I'm buying those. So I bought those yesterday. They are being processed. They'll probably get sent out early next week. And hopefully I'll get them by the end of the week, or however that works. But with the grammar questions for first form Latin, what I've been doing is I've been marking in my textbook like which questions I have a difficult time with. And because we're so far in the book, we don't review the older questions like from the first 2 or 3 units. We primarily just stick lately, like I think since we got to like unit 3 and 4, we've just been doing review questions just for those units. Like currently we're doing only the ones for unit 4. But in the sense of the grand scheme of things, there's probably a bunch in that first couple units that I don't know. So I'm hoping that when those come in, I will be able to quickly, well, maybe not so quickly because there's a lot of questions there, go through them and figure out which ones I know really well, which ones are a little hesitant. I'm sure they're all going to be a little iffy, but there might be some that I know. But I'm like super psyched about that. So I bought both. It sounds like first and second form came in a deck, and third and fourth form came in a deck. I don't have any of the textbook or the materials for third and fourth form, but I did buy their desk charts a while back ago, so I do plan on doing those upper courses when I get there. But obviously first form is taking forever because of just a bunch of stuff is just happening, and it's just, yeah, I think we had like 2 or almost 3 months of holiday, but yeah. Okay, so that's a new thing that is coming in the mail, so I'm super psyched about that. The other thing is I am working through the planner. Let me flip you over and kind of show you what I've got. So, whoa, that is like really close. So, I have been kind of pecking my way through this. Not horribly a lot is in here, but there is some stuff. I don't have anything on the vision board. Although, to be honest, these pages, if I was thinking, teacher and I had a really good conference session about 2-3 weeks ago, and these pages would have been a good spot to put that, because that was like this is what's going to happen going forward because our schedules changed and things. So this would have been a good spot to write that, but I wrote it in like some random book list page or something. But most of this other stuff is not yet written in. This, let me see what this is. Okay, so this I'm going to use for both, like, when we have class lessons, whatever, and when I'm doing homework. So whenever any of that stuff is happening, oh, I think music is on there too. Whenever any of that stuff is happening, it's going to be marked in here. There's kind of a key. Let me just zoom in on this. So there's kind of a key. If it's totally filled in, it means that it was pretty much a full day of class assignments, homework, whatever you want to call it, practicing. If it's halfway filled in, it means that it was pretty much a half day, which would only happen if there's like an appointment or something that I've got going on the other half of the day. And if it's an S, which obviously didn't turn out very well, if it's an S, it's a sick day. So, like, I guess, whatever that is. So, and if it's not filled in, it means obviously nothing was done. Now, I did meet with Magister on, it was on a Wednesday. I gotta figure out what date that is and color that in. But I'm thinking what I might do, because we've been kind of doing recitation and stuff, I might mark those out as half days, but I'm not sure, because we're kind of getting things set up. So that's kind of, I don't know. I might at least mark down that Latin with Magister has officially started. And even that was just kind of like, we just kind of went through fourth and fifth declensions and some vocab words. But nothing new because we're in a review unit. This is a progress tracker, which I have broken up by, well, this is first and, oh, this is everything. So this is Prima. I just threw this in here just because. And this is Christiana. So where there is an R1 or R2, those are review lessons. So that is kind of what those are. And then first form, this is, yeah, it goes about, yeah. So this kind of shows me more or less how much is left. So we're almost done with the unit. This is messed up. I totally messed up here. Because this is, I think this is the rest of the book, but I'm not sure. But either way, I need to double check and figure out what's going on here. And then second form, I'll just fill those in as we start on that. This is dealing with states and capitals. And what I did with this was I went through the text and marked out the abbreviations. Well, first I went through the a whiteout thing, whiteout tape, and whited out that middle block so that I had 2 blocks to write in. And then I just wrote out the various states with reviews. I think like here's review 6. Here's a mid-class review or something. So this is covering the first half of the course. And then there's some other stuff here. So this is that. This, okay, so this is Christian Studies. This is that storybook. And I went through and just marked out how many large chapters there were. So that's going to pretty much cover this whole line and part of that. So I'm making use of all these. And the rest of these, we're going to figure out how to use them with music and the literature books that or not literature books, but yeah, there's some literature books and some other stuff. So I got to figure out how to use those and get those marked. This is notes from our conference that we had 3-4 weeks ago. This is a list of books which are totally out of order, but I did kind of try to write in like tick boxes and things, but I don't think I'm going to use this because it's just a big mess. And there's some books on there that aren't marked in, and there's books in there that we're going to take out. So yeah, nothing on these pages. Okay, so here is the week. No, these are the months. So I've thus far labeled all the months. Well, if I can find them. Yeah, these are all the months. So I have put in the first, at least for the date for the months that aren't labeled, I put in the first and the last date of each month somewhere. Okay, so yeah, here. That's the last date of whatever this month is. February 28. So that way I can just come in here and number them without wondering, well, how many days does this month have? Yeah, that's another issue I have. So I can just more easily number them. This is primarily going to be used for appointments and just stuff that I've got going on. And this is kind of like a smattering of notes that I took based off the meeting notes that we did several weeks back. So this is kind of more or less what it is I'll be working through. And this up here, I got this from a lady who she does like how did this month go? How did this curriculum go? Etc. type thing. So that's what I'm thinking about using for here. I don't know how I'm going to write it or whatever, but I might go through my other planners and see if I have anything there. But this is pretty much everything that is going to be covered. And then there is your next month. So the thing I already don't like about this planner is that they put all the months in the front. I would prefer to have a month and then all the weeks. A month and then all the weeks. It just seems to be a little bit more easier for planning and things. Okay, so then this is a weekly overview. I'm not exactly sure what it is or how you use it, but I basically grouped the various subjects here, and music kind of incorporates practice and whatever we do for our Wednesday music thing. So I totally forgot to figure out where that was going. But this is character is those little manner things. So we're going to do that during what we're calling recitation and review. So I should probably mention that. So our schedule is a little bit different. We have an hour during the first 3 days that we're going to do recitation and review, in which we just go through flashcards and grammar questions and recitation work, like name the 9 planets in name the 8 planets in order, because science took out 1 planet. I don't know. Yeah, so that type of stuff is all done during recitation and review. And we are going to incorporate that, like that smile card, those manner cards in the first part, just something to review and talk about and all that good stuff. Kind of get a good start to the week, because we're only going to do those like once a week. And yeah, we'll see how that happens. So, and then there's a big block where there's kind of set aside for like study, but there's a couple times during the week, or possibly during the week or every other week or whatever, where I might have a meeting or something going on. But then after that, we meet for a 2-hour block in which we cover new material. So currently we're working through Christiana, so that's going to be our main course. And then on Saturday we do states and capitals for geography, and that's kind of what we're going to resume with Connecticut and move on with that. And then all this other stuff down here at the bottom is pretty much my independent stuff. So I've got let me zoom in on this. So Latin actually covers here. I can't find my thumb. Latin actually covers English grammar, because Christiana, we are doing an English grammar book as kind of like a grammar section of Latin, but it has nothing to do with Latin. But it has everything to do with English grammar, like spelling and stuff like that, and proofreading sentences and things like that, so writing out sentences correctly. So that's kind of what that is. So this is technically Latin covers English grammar and Latin, but I just wrote in Latin. Geography covers states and capitals, and then down here where it says Christ, this is where that Christian studies book would come into play, the story Bible or whatever it's called. And then literature. Okay, so this is something which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know how or where, but whatever. But literature and poetry. So I have somewhere here, in addition to that Beatrix book that I have, somewhere around here, I don't know where, there is a big literature book. Hold on. Is it over here? Well, this is no. Oh, well, this is a Christian studies book that I was looking for. That's a music book. Where is... hold on. I gotta find this book. I found it. So, this is a book I found randomly on the internet. I was just typing in poetry books or something. There are some poetry books that I am going to be getting, but I don't have them like right now. I'll probably get them like towards December or something. But this was just some random book that I found on the internet, and surprisingly, teacher knew who this author was, and he told me that this guy wrote Jekyll and Hyde, I think, and some like other really, really popular stuff. I think he said Treasure Island too. So yeah, so this is a bunch of literature, poetry type stuff that I listened to some of it on the internet. I was like, this is really interesting. So I have selected a handful of stuff out of here to read and memorize. Well, mainly memorize, but I will be reading through the whole book again, probably with Caesar. These if I can pull this. I don't know exactly. This, I'm really bummed out. It came like this. But I'm not gonna, like, pester Memorial Press for a new copy. I mean, you can tell it's not a real legit. It's a knockoff Golden. It's not a real legit Golden. Yeah. Because the real Goldens are not like this. Anyways, this is a little book that I ran across, and I looked it up and I listened to it, and I thought, this is kind of cool. So this is a book of a bunch of random different poems, prayers. There might be some poems in here, but just simple stuff that, again, I'm going to read through and actually memorize, like commit to memory. So this is like a literature book. This is another book that I got from, did I get this from Memoria? I think I got this from Memoria. This is another book that I got from Memoria, and this one is really, really cute. It talks about blessing, like, your bed and your family and your, the world. It's just really, really adorable. So, again, I'm going to memorize this and hopefully put it into practice. And this is the Christian study book that I was mentioning about. It's got the vocabulary words with definitions, and then it's got some questions with the answers. So I'm going to write these out as statements because the answers are already there. I did go through and mark these up into sections already. Let me see if I could find one. Yeah, so here, this one, I'm calling this chapter 12. So chapter 12 is going to cover the wisdom of Solomon and okay, we're going to skip the birth of Jesus because they put the birth of Jesus in the middle of Solomon, which isn't right. That's not how we're doing it. So it covers the wisdom of Solomon and whatever else is in this chapter. Some of these actually have more than one section. Solomon builds the temple. So this is a section that deals with Solomon. Pretty much all about Solomon. So that's kind of how that works. And it looks... is that a new chapter? No. It looks like Jonah. Ooh, you get to read about Jonah. So Solomon and Jonah. I don't know. But that's what I'm calling chapter 12. So I'm just going to mark in this planning book. I'm just going to mark down like chapter 12, chapter whatever. I think I might do like 1 or 2 chapters a week. I don't want to like overburden myself too much because I do have that big stack of reading books that I need to read through too. So, so that's kind of what that literature section is. Let's see. Okay, the independent reading. That is that huge pile of books that I showed you earlier on the bookshelf. And music is obviously music, organ practicing. There's some literature that I need to learn for piano stuff. And in addition to that, I am including into music whatever teacher and I go through in our weekly music session that we have. So currently, I have a bunch of stuff that is put together by week. No, by like units. So like the first unit we're in is like practice tips, inspiration, stuff like that. Because I haven't done this like seriously in a number of years. So we're kind of reading through books and talking about stuff about practicing and things like that. So there's a bunch of stuff that deals with that. There's another section that deals with like using the metronome. There's another section that deals with notation, and hopefully we'll just incorporate Braille. I know the fundamentals of Braille, and I did teacher and I did go through and I did teach him the basics of music notation, and the stuff I'm hoping to work through with Braille will not be too taxing on him. I mean, I don't plan on working on like advanced piano literature using Braille because I'm not at that stage. I just need single line music to practice solfeging is basically what it is. And then is a section on rhythm. There's a section, I think, on conducting and things like that. There's just all kinds of different stuff, and I don't even know if I printed that off. I printed off a bunch of stuff, and I don't think I printed that off. So this currently is the book we are going through. We're in we literally just started this, so we're in chapter 2. So I don't know if he's gonna require anything, because during chapter 1 we just like listened while he read. I was trying to envision the stuff that he was reading about, but I think we're gonna I don't know. He said he might have me do something with the readings, but I don't know. I think we have to talk about that more. But this is kind of where we're at right now with that. So that is going to go in the music section, and I'll just put a special mark next to that so that we have a together time. This is something that I'm going to utilize. I'm just going to write down the manner number for the week that we're going to cover. So like this coming Monday, we're going to look at manner number 1, which is smile. And then the following week, we're going to look at number 2, and so on and so forth. So again, this came with the large packet of cards or whatever. So it covers a whole bunch of different stuff. So I'm going to add those into this as I'm kind of figuring things out. Let me see here. So, this is, hold on. This is that book I was talking about that has a whole bunch of, these are like a bunch of reading books that you need to have to go with this. So the thing I saw, so here there's a bunch of maps and stuff, and they're labeled, and they've got like continents and stuff. So I thought stuff like this might actually be good to, we don't know why there's a dinner plate here, but yeah, there's a dinner plate here, in the midst of all these maps. Hopefully, by having this stuff, because it's a quick, easy reference thing, I can use it to actually learn some of the stuff. Like this one talks about the deserts of America. I didn't know that America had deserts, and then the rest of the stuff is just a bunch of books and poetry and stuff. But this would, I don't know, we're not going to study from it this year, but the maps in back might come in handy, and we might draw some stuff from here. I don't know. Teacher was we're kind of looked through a little bit of it, and he's like, yeah, that looks like it might be some good material, but we got to figure out where it's going to slide in. So we might actually just draw from this whenever, like, just as kind of like a, I wouldn't say like a fun thing, but kind of like a fun thing. Like, there's a really neat geography thing that talked about, like, pulling out maps and drawing your home city or neighborhood or something like that. I mean, I like doing stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with that. So that is kind of where things are at. So now that I have all this recitation stuff, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the review box. So I actually have this set up, and these are the instructions for how to use it. So let me show you the flashcard box. This is like a hodgepodge of everything. It's supposed to be a planning stroke update, but it's just kind of like everything. So we're going to move the manners. So this thing here, let me move that out of the way. So this is our review box. And it took me forever to find a box that was going to hold whatever size cards these are and be able to be long enough to fit all the flashcards that we have. So let me zoom in on this, and you can see, I think it's a Sterilite. I don't know. Yeah, it's a Sterilite. There's the information if you're looking for a recitation box. This actually is very, very nice. There's 2 of them on the shelf, and I picked them both up. So when this one is used up, we'll have to find a way to figure out how to expand onto the next one. So basically we have all the subjects in here. We have Latin. We have all the when I say all the Latin, I mean all the Latin. We have Prima cards in here, Christiana cards in here, the ones that we've studied, and First Form cards in here, the ones that we've studied. So I am utterly embarrassed to say that Sum Esse Fui Futurus is in the new pile. And that's because I have not gone through my Latin cards for First Form, like, really at all. So there's a lot of First Form cards in here. So this is the new pile. This is states and capitals. These, we actually found these in the lesson plans. So I didn't know that these were there. So I was digging around and I saw them, like, oh, cool, we could use these. So what we did was, we have the front side obviously has the New England states, and then it's got the state and the capital and all that stuff. But on the back side, we wrote out New England states. So I am holding the cards like this, so I only see New England states, and then I have to recite them to the best of my ability from memory. Now, because we have never done this before, this is in the new pile. So I think we've covered, we covered more than half of them. So this would be something good to just say, hey, what is the capital of Vermont? What is what is VT? I mean, this is stuff he could pull a lot of information from, instead of just asking, what are the New England states? He could pull a couple different things out of there. So those are all in the new pile. Technically, these other ones, they could be taken out, but I don't know. We might actually, I think I might do that. For the other states, I might actually put these in their spots. We have arithmetic cards, because we want to incorporate the arithmetic cards. There's more Latin. So then for the odds and even days, we just when we did the review last week, and I think we did some the week before, we kind of did it as, well, if you know it, it goes in, like if you know it point blank, it goes in a week, like a day of the week. For the math cards, he said if the top number, let's say the top number is a 4, put it in the 4s. So that's weird. That's kind of how we did that. And if you know it, but you had to think, sometimes we stuck them in the weekday and sometimes we stuck them in the odds and evens, depends on how bad the recall was. So this is literally covering a lot of, it covers everything. So this will be a weekly to do, and actually it'll probably be a daily to do because there's something probably for every day. So let's see, tomorrow is Sundays. So Sunday I'm going to have to review all the new cards. I'm going to have to review the odd cards. I don't know, because I don't know what tomorrow's date is. So let's pretend it's the 9th. I'm going to have to review all the odd cards, and I'm going to have to review the cards in Sunday, which, there are some, unfortunately. I don't know why there are cards in Sunday, but are these supposed to be on Monday? No, Monday has its own deck. Yeah, so somehow cards got put into Sunday. I don't know why. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to review 5. All the cards that are in the 9 section. Assuming that tomorrow is the 9th. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how that works out. So this is our recitation box and review box for everything. And when those grammar cards come in, they're going to be placed in here too. So yeah. So I am going to take what we have pulled out and see about penciling in some plans in the sense of what it is that we've got going on this week so that I kind of have an idea. We're kind of leaning on one. Oh, do you want to look at the cat? You probably want to look at the cat. We are leaning on about one lesson a week for Christiana. We're leaning on one state a week for states and capitals. And as far as Latin, first form Latin, again, about one lesson a week. And everything else is just kind of going to be up, on my own. I have to maintain my own, to do whatever it is I have to do. So that stuff I'm going to be probably a little bit more careful on planning, but we'll see what happens. So that is kind of where things are at right now. It's kind of getting dark and I need to go to bed. But I need to get all this other stuff done here too. So I will let it be at that, and maybe if I get done with anything, I could show you guys an update. But if not, we'll just kind of see what happens when I do get it done, if I get it done. Please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget, ring the notification bell for all notifications.